Hey there, you're listening to the Scale to Sell podcast, the business owner's podcast to grow and exit your business, where we share with entrepreneurs like you the tactical and practical things you can do to scale your business and create an exit strategy that works for your retirement plan. I'm Adam Burton, part of the father-son duo behind Scale to Sell. I'm an attorney with marketing and business development experience, and I'm joined by my dad, Steve. He's an entrepreneur himself and a financial advisor who's been in the financial services industry for over 2 decades. His expertise securing his clients' retirement income and his experience owning and operating businesses gives him unique insight into what it takes for business owners to scale and sell their business successfully. So this is episode 1, the mistake 80% of business owners make, but you don't have to. Before we share that staggering statistic, the mistake you don't want to make as a business owner, let's give a little bit of background. This is our first episode, so we want to just find out a little bit more about who we are and why this is such a big deal. Steve, why are you in a unique position to help business owners understand really what it means to simplify the process around scaling a business, selling a business, all of that stuff?
Well, I've been an entrepreneur since I was 3. Right, so there is that. So I've been doing it for a while. I've always had a unique, opportunity, excitement when I get around business owners. I've owned a few dozen businesses myself. I still own a few. And so I love it as a financial advisor. I get excited when anybody comes in the door, but there's just something about an entrepreneur, a business owner that will put their blood, sweat, and tears into the business, and at some point in time need to sell that business and want to retire and move on. And how do we do that? What's the value of the business? A whole lot of things go on, but it just gets me excited because I've been an entrepreneur for a long period of time.
Well, and I've been around you enough to hear the different conversations that you have with business owners, and there really isn't a lot of clarity around the conversations of what it looks like to plan for your business exit and how to make sure that you're actually prepared for that next stage of your life with retirement.
It is, and most of the business owners, there's some stats out there that we'll go through here in a little bit. And it was true of me. I put all my money, I borrowed money against my house. I racked up the credit cards. I did everything to get the business started. And then if it was successful, I borrowed more to keep it going and grow it. But I really didn't understand the exit. If I got to put all this money in here and build up and hopefully praying that this business will become successful, one, what's it worth? And then when I sell it, can I sell it? Who's to sell it? There's not like a real estate agent on every other corner selling businesses. So there was just a lot to learn out there. And I've learned through time. And then over the last couple years, it's really started coming into focus for me. And because of some opportunities, was able to become a executive producer on a movie about mergers and acquisitions. That helped a lot. I've met a lot of mergers and acquisitions people, small, medium, large. So just learning a lot through the process right there.
Yeah, there's a lot of big questions. So here's the stat that every business owner needs to pay attention to. 80% of small businesses will not sell. 80%. That's amazing. They will either close their doors and liquidate, but they won't sell. So there's a number of reasons why this is the case, and that's kind of what we're going to talk about today. So 3 main reasons why a business wouldn't sell. The first reason, there's no exit plan.
It happens all the time. There's no clear transition to the next generation. Many people would like that for their kids to take over the business. They don't know the value of the business. The kids may not have the same passion, desire to run the business. They think the business is worth more than it actually is. They don't have processes and structure to their business. There's a number of reasons. Those are just a few.
Yeah, for sure. So things like they think they'll work forever, right? And this is that idea that, it's what you're used to. So you just keep on thinking that you're going to do the same things over and over again and realize that, over a period of time that may not be the case.
Oh, I say it all the time. I ask business owners all the time, and they say, well, I'm going to work forever. I said, no, you're not. You're not going to live forever. Therefore, you're not going to work forever. What happens if you get sick, become disabled, die? Something happens. There's a lot of different things, but you need to have an exit plan whether you're going to exit or not into the future, you need to have a transition plan in place to make sure the business succeeds beyond you.
So people think they're going to work forever, or that they'll live forever, so they'll work forever. They don't know what to do, right? We talked about that one kind of in the introduction, confusion, the lack of clarity there. There's so much of this one too. So many are so busy working in the business that they don't work on their business. And so they miss out on those opportunities that are really going to make the exit possible.
No doubt. We are typically the engine of the business. We are the lead salesperson many times. We're the operation problem solver, fireman putting out situations all the time. And if we take ourselves out of the business doesn't have value, or it falls apart, and bad things happen. And so I had to step back after I started learning these things. And I said, I'm teaching and talking to other people. I need to have systems in place, process in place. And even if I don't ever retire, it's about having a quality of life where you can put things in place where you can make it more profitable, make it more valuable. And if you had to exit for one of the reasons, then you can do so.
Well, and that's something that we've seen in your business, like you were just saying. Even in this year, we've changed the structure of your schedule. You've changed the structure of your schedule to focus on being able to do the things that are going to help grow the business that way, but also the behind the scenes stuff that needs to be taken care of. And yeah, that's definitely an important one. That's easy when you're in the hustle of it all to just look past and to miss those opportunities altogether.
I had to train people up and delegate. I'm a pretty good delegator, but I wasn't delegating. I could tell my wife, who does the books and does a lot of other things, that, hey, you need to delegate. And then I look at my own situation, working 80 hours a week, and I go, wait a minute, there's some simple things that are vitally important to the business that I can transition to other people on my team that would gladly take those off and give them an opportunity to grow and make more income. And so, yes, there's a lot of things, little things. It doesn't seem like important, but a lot of little things add up to a much more profitable, much more valuable business if you do decide to exit.
Yeah, and the last one that we'll talk about here as why there's no exit plan and why many people don't plan is they don't recognize how their exit decisions will impact their personal retirement. We say it all the time, right? For business owners, their business is oftentimes their largest asset. And they don't think a lot of times, because they're so busy with all the other things that they're juggling, about the impact of what that sale needs to look like in order for them to keep that lifestyle the way that they want it.
We look at their personal finances. In many cases, I ran an example recently, and a couple was making $400,000 a year. Their desired income when they retired, they thought was, hey, we need $200,000 a year. Well, one, they're going to live off half of that. That caused me a little concern right there, where they're going to change their lifestyle. So we try to, how much will their personal assets, how much does the business need to sell for net of taxes and fees in order to commingle with their personal finances in order to maintain that lifestyle? But hey, if you've worked for decades building this business up and you've become accustomed to a nice lifestyle, you don't want to go backwards. So making sure you get top dollar out of that most important asset, your business, is just vitally important to your successful exit of the business.
Absolutely. So as a part of our first reason of why businesses don't sell, there's no exit plan for a number of those things. The second main reason businesses don't sell is the fact that the business is not transferable. So what does that mean?
So in many cases, we've seen businesses sometimes doing millions and millions, tens of millions of dollars in business, but they don't have processes. They don't have teams. When you sell a business, the new owners are not buying you. You could be the greatest guy or girl at whatever you do, but if you're out of the business and the business collapses because of not having processes, documented processes, having teams in place, so you got to have things in place. There's a lot to know about, and it's not that complicated if you get with the right people and put these things in place over a period of time.
Yeah, especially in small businesses, the business owner is the primary engine. And so many times, so many cases that we see, the main salesperson, the main problem solver, right? Without him or her, the company is not growing in the way that it has been. And so, yeah, what are you selling? When you take that person out, what do you have? You don't have the documentation, the processes, the other people that are there to add value to continue on after you're out. There's nothing to sell.
And you're limiting yourself, because even if you're doing all those things, you can do more if you have a team. Because if you're spreading and you train somebody to do sales, or you train them to do operations, or whatever it is vitally important to that, you're taking a lot of your time. So you can become more profitable now, and then again get a higher multiple when you go to sell it. So I don't see the downside. It is a positive right there, and it will change your life to allow you to take some more time off now, put some more money to the side. And then when you do exit, whether it's an internal exit to a family member or an operations person, somebody inside the business, or whether it's an exit, an outside sale to a competitor, got to do that one right. We'll talk about that in future podcasts, or it could blow up on you. Or private equity is writing checks like you wouldn't believe right now for all kinds of businesses, but that needs to be done right as well.
Yeah, you could be making a lot of money, but if it's tied to you and you haven't created a team that can produce that can continue that business, then there's really not much to transfer. So first, there's no exit plan. That's going to be a major reason why people don't sell their business. The second one, there's nothing that's transferable there. They haven't built up the systems and processes to be able to really have something to transfer. The third main reason is the customer base is too centralized around one or just a few clients. Why is that so risky for a business?
I owned a business a long time ago, a commercial cleaning business, and we cleaned a bunch of grocery stores, the floors. Who knew that was a big business at the time? And I was killing it, but I had one main client, and I had hundreds of their stores as my client. But when they pulled that contract after about a decade, I about went out of business. I went on to find, I needed to find something else to do. I eventually went back and built that business back up. But you can't have you might be killing it, but if you've only got one or two main contracts, unless and it could work out, Adam, it could work out if the contract is documented, signed, sealed in paper, and even through a transition. But it's a risk to a potential buyer that they look and you got too few clients. Your revenue is based on there, and if that contract ends or goes away, then your business is worth a lot less money. So you got to make sure that you're diversified in your customer base.
Yeah, putting all your eggs in the one customer basket comes with a lot of risk, and that's always a red flag to someone who's purchasing it, because they're wanting to make sure, am I going to be able to get the money out of this? And if that's certainly a concern that they think of. Okay, so clearly, as a business owner, you do not want to make the mistake that 80% of business owners make, not being able to sell the business, not being able to get the value out of it that you need for your personal finances, for your retirement income. So here's a few key takeaways to think about as we wrap up with this episode. One, you need an exit plan, right? If you take nothing else out of this, having an exit plan, having a plan in place is going to be key for you to make sure that you've got what you need in retirement. You need to have something that is transferable, assets that are transferable, value in your business that people want to buy. And you need to manage the risks up front so you don't hinder the sale of your business, like you were just talking about with having just one or just a couple clients and customers. There's a lot of risk in that. I'd say that's why it's important to go ahead and subscribe to the podcast, follow on whatever podcast platform you are listening on. We're going to help be part of your team that's educating and empowering you to make the right kinds of decisions when it comes to growing and exiting your business. If you liked this episode and you want to hear more from Scale to Sell, please follow the show on your podcast platform of choice so you never miss an episode. And as a new and growing podcast, rating and reviewing the podcast can be incredibly helpful so more entrepreneurs like you can find our content and join our growing community. See you next time on the Scale to Sell podcast.